3, 2, 1.
Good morning and welcome to our weekly briefing. I'm Kevin Harrison, Community Engagement Coordinator, Division of Diversity and Community Engagement. The purpose of these briefings is to keep the campus and public better informed about the changes occurring at Wichita State. Following a university update and today's feature topic, there will be time for questions. But first of all, welcome yourselves with a great big shocker hand clap. If you haven't heard, enrollment numbers for fall 2018 are out. On Monday, we were proud to announce that our new first-time freshman class of 1,606 students is the largest in school history for the third consecutive year and marks the fourth time in 5 years that this record has been broken. We also saw gains in full-time equivalents, total headcount, local students, underrepresented students and minorities, students from along the I-35 corridor, and many others. These gains are made possible in part by Wichita State's strategic enrollment management plan and the hard work of our dedicated faculty and staff. But the most important ambassadors are the students themselves, who are sharing the positive experience they have at Shoppers through applied learning, research, and a robust and vibrant campus experience. You can find out more about enrollment numbers by visiting our news page at wichita.edu/news. This fall, the university has seen a sharp increase in care cases. By raising awareness about our wellness resources, we're creating a campus environment where more students feel comfortable contacting our care team for assistance with a wide range of personal and academic issues. To learn more about the care team or to submit a concern, visit wichita.edu/care. On a side note, we also want you to know that the annual Security and Fire Safety Report for 2017 has been released and is available at wichita.edu/police. On Tuesday, Wichita State University held its annual ceremony honoring the university's 31 football players, administrators, and supporters who died in a plane crash in Colorado on October 2nd, 1970. Now in its 48th year, the Memorial 70 observance is a time of remembrance and acknowledgement of the changes the plane crash made in the lives of the victims, their families, their friends, and the university. Those interested in making a tax-deductible contribution in memory of the crash victims can do so through the WSU Foundation or online by visiting wichita.edu/give and selecting the Football 70 Memorial Scholarship. Finally, we'd like to invite the WSU community and the public to attend the Shocker Ruck this Saturday, October 6th, in support of our active military and veteran students. Shocker Ruck is our Student Veterans Organization's annual fundraiser. A ruck is a hike with packs that mimic the training that military members undergo. The event is from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. outside of Grace Wilkie Hall. The actual ruck is a 1.7-mile backpack optional march around the university starting at noon. Anyone is welcome to participate. There'll also be information that connects our military shockers with resources for their academic, personal, and professional success. We also at this time like to challenge various of the offices on campus to come out and participate in this worthwhile event. So we'll send out a personal challenge to the Provost's office, to the President's office, and to the Division of Diversity and Community Engagement, and anyone else who would like to participate. All right, I'd like to introduce this week's featured speaker. Ty Tabing is a Wichita native, Wichita State University alumnus, and professional placemaker. And he's here to talk about the importance of inspiring people to linger, meet, talk, and create in public spaces. So at this time, I will turn the podium over to Mr. Ty Tabing.
Good morning, everybody. I'm very happy to be here this morning. I graduated with an economics degree from Wichita State over 30 years ago and spent most of my career in Chicago with a couple years in Asia working in Singapore. I never thought I'd move back to Wichita, and I certainly didn't expect to be working on a project here at Wichita State. Wichita has begun to change in a really positive way, which is what attracted me back to the city. What I'm talking about today is placemaking, which is really about creating great places to spend your time in, to linger longer, But it's critical to economic development as this city looks to respond to the facts and the stats from the Chung report. Creating great public spaces will benefit this city. In fact, here recently, Amazon announced a search for their second headquarters, the HQ2 search that will be announced, I think, later this year. And it's important to note that the criteria for selecting a hometown destination have really changed over the years. In the past, it was really just about the workforce and cost of living, but the criteria for the Amazon HQ2, it includes great green spaces, placemaking, public plazas, and walkability. So it's really about quality of life in terms of recruiting 21st century economies to a city and ultimately growing a city's economy and population. So I have a brief video to share, and from there I'll go into a little bit of a presentation and answer some questions at the end. Cities are defined by the experiences that people have in those cities.
This is Ty Tate. He's a Wichita native and an economic development and urban planning consultant. And this is Troy Houck, Director of Park and Recreation for the City of Wichita.
We have this need to have this connection with other folks, and whether it's here in Wichita or other cities across the country, and there's really this push to bring people together in public spaces.
You know, I would argue that in Wichita, people spend a lot of their lives in cars driving from point A to point B, and as a result of that, there's less of a public sphere. You know, this isn't really just a quaint notion of making cities more interesting. It's real economic development.
Well, I'll talk about one big one, and when we did the Open Streets event, September 24th, it was on a Sunday. A Sunday, most of the businesses downtown are closed. We activated it with closing Douglas for 4 miles, and we had 18,000 people come down there with their bikes. The restaurants were full, food trucks coming downtown. We had all the stores open up. The economic impact was huge.
People want to fall in love with the city that they live in. And places like this that are created out of alchemy, it's a human characteristic to seek out great places to watch the world go by. And these kind of opportunities really provide those spaces.
So what is Wichita's next great public space? And how can we use it to transform our city and spur economic development?
20 years ago, the Keeper of the Plains, the reinvestment that occurred related to it, was really transformative to the River District. You know, what is the next Keeper of the Plains?
Part of what we do in the Parks and Recreation Department is really kind of emphasizing on those gathering spaces, places where people can get together. It's not just enough just to have the spaces, but they have to be activated. They have to have some kind of programming to go on with it. And so one of the challenges that I had when I first came here 2.5 years ago is I went to go look at this NASCAR park right downtown. How can I activate this park? And it's a great location, it's a great place, and as things are starting to happen all around it, we needed a space that was a little bit flatter and open so we can actually host different types of events there. Also kind of do some great programming there as well. So that's what we were kicking off, and actually we took it to council last week, and we're going to be closing the park May 21st, and it's going to be about a year to 14 months worth of work.
There's always a challenge to get a project off the ground, and if it's a small project that has neighborhood support, it's a little easier to get something like that off the ground than it is to have, you know, like say Century 2, and what the prospects for Century 2 are. Public spaces define a city, and we need more public spaces in Wichita. I don't think anybody would deny that the Delano Streetscape project has been anything but tremendously successful. It's become a destination, but I guess the lesson is people can really sort of be empowered to lead projects that benefit their neighborhood.
We're now having some more music concerts in our parks, and that wouldn't have happened unless these folks came and talked to us and said, what is it going to take? And we'll work with them on partnering on making that happen. It's just having that engagement, those conversations, those partnerships, that's really critical.
As the city and individual neighborhoods work to create a higher quality of life, it won't just make it a better place to live. It can also attract companies that are specifically looking for quality of life for their workers.
as we're trying to attract companies here in Wichita, these folks are looking for a healthy workforce and great places for them to recreate and enjoy.
To me, the future of the city is about creating public spaces. My hope is that people will better understand that public spaces not only drive a city competitively in the way of economic development and population growth, but it also improves the quality of life of the place.
So I thought it made sense to provide a bit of a definition of what placemaking is. It's really about taking advantage of the unique selling points, the unique attributes of a city or of a place, and really celebrating those and exploiting those differences to create a unique place. It really, what placemaking looks like in Wichita, Kansas is very different than what it might look like in Winfield, Kansas, or Chicago, Illinois, or other places because of the unique selling points that are different in each community. However, as you look at doing successful placemaking projects, it's really important to focus on a few key attributes. The sociability, the collisions, if you will, that take place. As you look at Wichita State, I see a lot of unique audiences that come in and out of the campus. There, of course, are the students and the faculty, but with some of the new companies that have located on campus, there's also that inflow and outflow of people. So we have a unique opportunity to create a space that embraces those inflows and outflows of people. And we'll be creating some uses and activities. It's also important to have a degree of comfort, to want to just kind of hang out in a space, which often means well-designed furniture, having programming, and also other elements that engage people and encourage them just to hang out a little bit. I've always looked back at this book. It's called Love Where You Live, Creating Emotionally Engaging Places. This gentleman, Peter Gabiyama, he's considered one of the real leaders in placemaking around the country, and he has basically a book that says, do quirky things, do interesting things, do engaging things that provide a delight to visitors and to those folks who occupy space. So I've had the fortune of doing several placemaking projects in the past. I have a few here to showcase. This is in Chicago. This is a little pocket park that is next to the city's main library. It's sat vacant for about 20 years. There's a long history related to that. But we decided one summer to commission an artist to create a piece to activate this park. That eyeball sculpture is 30 feet tall and really created a buzz throughout not only the city, but also to visitors. It was up during the summer season, which is when the majority of tourists visit Chicago. It became so successful we had to replace the grass around it because everybody wanted to have a selfie taken in that setting. So again, we engaged different audiences, school children, there were residents who lived in the building back behind there, library goers, of course the office workers in downtown, and we created a marketing campaign around it. There was also this cardinal that was kind of a flip book flying down the street, State Street in downtown Chicago over a 9-block area. Another project that was done for that summer art installation, it was one of my last projects in Chicago before I moved to Singapore. It was called Color Jam. It was by an artist, Jessica Stockholder. She wanted to really drench the entire intersection in color and make it a place to be. That's at State and Madison, which is at the center of the grid of Chicago where all addresses begin. So we colored the sidewalks, the crosswalks, and had the color extend up the buildings. Again, it became a place where we got a lot of media attention, gave people reason to visit a place, and there are pedestrian counters on State Street. It led to a 15% increase in pedestrian flow to the street. So it was very successful. We even had a couple of very passionate passersby. This woman's clothing actually surprisingly fit right in. And surprisingly, she was willing to lie down on a street in downtown Chicago for that photo. I guess the last program that I want to share was really trying to make lemonade out of lemons. At the height of the recession, 2008, 2009, we had over 50 vacant storefronts in downtown Chicago, and we wanted to come up with a program that made the spaces more appealing to prospective tenants. So the curb appeal was enhanced through this program. And instead of the space just sitting vacant, we invited artistic groups from around the metro area to take this very coveted space downtown and create art galleries that were open. We created monthly gallery walks to engage people. Again, it led to a lot of unique audiences coming downtown. In that case, a lot of sort of younger people traditionally haven't gone downtown in Chicago, and we were able to really bring a new audience to downtown Chicago. Since returning to Wichita, one placemaking project that I've done was last summer. It was an effort to activate the Arkansas River downtown, and the desire was to just activate those bike paths. You know, very few people, surprisingly, use those bike paths downtown. So this was a way to generate some buzz, think about the connectivity of the site, and how to get people more seamlessly from Delano to downtown and give them a little delight in the process. So that's about it with my slides. I did want to mention a couple projects that I'm working on here. Again, just for context, in many ways, what I hope to accomplish working with stakeholders on campus is to really create memories for students and faculty, to create traditions and rituals that bring people back. And importantly, you know, there's a lot of research that shows placemaking really increases one's attachment to the place that they're in. You know, there's a human response that's favorable to being in a great urban setting. And it's our hope that we can create some of those initiatives, which we'll be announcing over the next couple of weeks. That'll include events, some activations on campus. It will also include some artistic installations. But we're also looking at Rayburn Square, the new retail area that's opened on campus, because we really view it as a portal into the entirety of campus. You know, it's a place to attract external audiences in the same way the Ulrich is, but on the other side of campus, you know, external audiences that might not come to Wichita State generally will be visiting the retail offerings, and so we want to create kind of some breadcrumbs that incentivize people to explore campus, to make discoveries. You know, Wichita State's campus is one of the most walkable parts of the entire city. So we want to really celebrate that walkability, encourage people to come visit parts of campus, and really explore all the free programming, all of the wonderful things that happen on campus. We're going to try and create platforms to showcase that to the outside world. One of the things that I want to emphasize is that we'll really need co-creators to be successful in this initiative. This is really a pilot program to introduce placemaking to campus, but for placemaking to really be effective and work, the community has to be engaged. So students, faculty, community residents in the nearby area, as we get the pilot program up and running, we certainly want to engage those stakeholders to really make this work and deliver what the stakeholders would like to see. So we have, like I said, several announcements that will be made in the coming months. I just want to kind of tease something that will be happening on Monday, November the 5th. That is a pep rally that we'll be providing more information on in the coming weeks. but it's going to be kind of a fresh approach to doing a pep rally. It's the night before one of the first home games here in town. So, you know, this is really fun work. I'm excited to be back in Wichita, in my hometown. It's been wonderful to work with so many of the different elements of campus, and I'll continue to be meeting a lot of stakeholders in the coming weeks to really make this program as robust as possible and enhance the experience that students and faculty have on campus, but importantly, attract some new audiences into not only Grayburn Square, but the entirety of campus. So with that, if there are any questions, I will certainly answer them. Yes?
So you were previously doing placemaking in Chicago, and you did like mostly like art pieces, and somehow I just don't think that would work as well in Wichita. I feel like, I don't know, I know that you did the DNA thing downtown and also the open streets, but do you know like how effective each piece would be, like more like multi-cultural events, whereas like art pieces, like how responsive like the Wichita community is to each type of placemaking?
Yeah, so the question is, I guess, looking at placemaking in Wichita and kind of comparing it to Chicago.
Just like what would work here?
Yeah, what would work here? As I said previously, you know, what works here might not be the same as what worked in Chicago. You know, Chicago has 700,000 people going into its downtown every day, so there are tremendous opportunities to capture people, and you really got to do big things to get people's attention. You know, there are a lot fewer people, of course, in Wichita and on Wichita State's campus, so I think we'll have to use our resources wisely and recognize that, again, there are inflows and outflows of people, and what appeals to some of the corporate stakeholders on campus might be a little different than what appeals to the students. So I guess my answer is really to stay tuned. I think we'll have some exciting things we'll be announcing in the next 4 to 6 weeks, and I hope they'll really be engaging not only to the community but to folks on campus every day. Anyone else? Okay, with that, I will turn it back over to Kevin. Thank you very much.
So I just want to say it's been truly fascinating watching the campus and the city transform to better accommodate the needs of the city that's changing and becoming more diverse. So that was really good information. So thanks again, Mr. Tavy, for sharing with us. Let's give him a hand, please. And at this time, I'll take a question on any updates that we shared today or any other questions that you may have or questions that I'm unable to answer. I'm going to ask Joe Klein-Saucer to follow up with you immediately following the briefing. So make sure that you give us your contact information so that he can get in touch with you with any questions. Okay, with that said, we want you to be mindful of our vision and mission. Our mission is to be an essential educational, cultural, and economic driver for Kansas and the greater public good. Our vision is to be internationally recognized as the model for applied learning and research. If there are no more questions, thank you for coming to today's briefing. The next one will be held at 10 a.m. Thursday, October the 11th. And I'd like to say in closing, sharing with you wise words that a wise professor once shared with me. And those words were, it doesn't matter what they call you, it's what you answer to that counts. Around here, we answer to integrity, progress, and excellence. So if you find yourself answering to something that's not synonymous with excellence, you may not be answering to the higher call of being a shopper. That said, as always, this has been Kevin Harrison.